Have you ever wondered why certain colors feel heavy on you? Why the moment you put them on, your energy changes, your mood shifts, your presence dulls? This is not by accident. There is a color that witches and dark forces have used for centuries, a color they cloak themselves in to manipulate, to drain, to spiritually mark those who are unaware. And most people wear it without realizing they are carrying a signal, an open invitation, a silent permission slip for negativity to enter their lives. You see, colors are not just fabric dyes, they are frequencies. They carry vibrations that interact with your spirit. When you choose what you wear, you are not only deciding your style, you are declaring your energy, announcing your openness or your protection. Witches understand this. They know how to dress in a way that shifts atmospheres, and there is one color they reserve for spiritual control. When you put it on, you think you are simply blending in, but in reality you are being marked, tagged, tracked by forces that don't want you to shine, don't want you to rise, don't want you to step into your true identity. Imagine stepping into a room where every eye suddenly feels heavier on you, every conversation feels colder, and you can't explain why your confidence seems to shrink. That's the silent weapon of this color. It isn't about fashion, it's about infiltration. Witches wear it to hide in plain sight, to wrap themselves in a cloak of invisibility while they do their work. And when you wear it, you unknowingly align yourself with that same energy, giving them permission to project onto you. Here's the truth: your life is too valuable, your spirit too powerful, to wear what dark forces use as their disguise. You are not meant to blend into darkness. You were born to stand in light. That's why you must guard yourself, even in the choices that seem small. Every detail matters. Every signal you give off creates an opening for either strength or weakness, power or vulnerability. When you avoid this color, you take away one of their tools. You refuse to be marked. You refuse to be drained. And you declare without speaking a word, I am untouchable. That is how you protect your energy. That is how you rise above the silent war happening around you. Because the enemy works in subtle ways, and if you don't pay attention, what you wear could be the very thing that keeps you chained. When I tell you that colors carry energy, I want you to understand this isn't superstition, this is reality. Everything in this world vibrates at a frequency, and your body, your thoughts, your emotions, they all respond to those frequencies. That's why when you walk into a room painted in bright, warm tones, you feel alive, uplifted, motivated. And yet, if you walk into a space covered in dull, heavy shades, you suddenly feel tired, unmotivated, maybe even anxious without knowing why. That's not a coincidence. It's your spirit responding to the vibration of color. Witches understand this deeply. They know that if they can influence your frequency through the color you wear, they can begin to affect how you think, how you feel, and even how you carry yourself in the world. The moment you put on a certain shade, you are not just wearing fabric. You are stepping into an energy field that either empowers you or weakens you. This is why you must pay attention to what touches your body, because every choice sends out a signal, and the wrong signal can open the wrong doors. The power of color isn't fashion, it's communication. It's announcing to the universe, to people, and even to unseen forces exactly where you stand. And if you don't consciously choose what energy you align with, someone else will choose it for you. Witches have always understood the psychology of sight, the silent language of color. They don't just wear it because it looks good or blends well with the night. They wear it because it carries weight, it influences perception, and it shifts the atmosphere around them. Think about it. Every uniform, every flag, every symbol in history has used color as power. Armies wore certain shades to intimidate, Kings wore royal hues to establish dominance, and spiritual leaders wrapped themselves in colors that represented purity or divinity. Witches do the same, but for the opposite reason. They choose the color that cloaks them, that hides their true intent, that makes them less noticeable while they operate. It becomes their camouflage, their invisibility cloak, allowing them to move undetected. And here's the dangerous part. When you wear it without realizing, you step into that same cloak. You begin to carry the weight of an energy that was never meant for you, a vibration used to manipulate, distract, and deceive. It isn't about fashion, it's about control. They know the power of sight is one of the fastest ways to influence the mind, and color is their weapon of choice. This is why you can never underestimate it, because what you see is never just what you see, it's what you feel, and it's how others experience you. And the wrong color makes you easier to read, easier to reach, easier to weaken. When you put this color on, you're not just making a fashion decision, you're making a spiritual agreement without even knowing it. You're sending out a frequency that says, I'm open, I'm available, I can be touched. And that's exactly what darkness is looking for, an entry point. It doesn't always storm in loudly. It slips in silently through the small choices you think don't matter. You might believe it's just fabric, just a shade, but what you're really doing is signaling permission. You're aligning yourself with a vibration that was never meant for you, a vibration that attracts heaviness, negativity, and interference. And here's the danger. Most people don't even realize it's happening. They walk through their day drained, confused, burdened, never questioning if it's something they've allowed in through what they wear, what they carry, what they choose to surround themselves with. Witches know that once you wear this color, your guard drops without you realizing it. They don't even have to force their way in because you've already left the door unlocked. That's how subtle it is. It's not about you believing in it. It's about it working whether you believe or not. Because energy doesn't ask for your opinion, it responds to your alignment, and if you align with the wrong thing, you give access to the wrong forces. Think about those moments when you walk into a room and instantly feel like you've lost your edge, like the confidence you had just minutes ago is gone. You don't feel as sharp, your voice doesn't carry the same strength, and suddenly you're second, guessing yourself in ways you normally don't. This isn't always coming from inside of you. It can come from what you're carrying on your body. The wrong color acts like a slow leak in your spirit, draining the energy that fuels your presence. It doesn't hit you all at once. It's subtle, gradual, almost invisible. One moment you feel fine, and the next you feel smaller, quieter, less powerful. That's the effect of a vibration that doesn't serve you. Colors are not neutral. They either amplify your light or mute it. When you wear the color that witches use to mask themselves, you are unintentionally cloaking your own strength. Instead of being seen for who you truly are, you start to fade into the background. People overlook you, dismiss you, ignore you, and you don't even realize that it's the color doing the talking before you open your mouth. Imagine standing in front of people you want to influence, people you want to inspire, and yet they can't feel your presence the way they should. That's not because you're weak. It's because you've allowed a frequency to sit on you that is working against your natural power. This is what witches count on. They know if they can get you to carry the weight of this color, they don't even have to attack you directly. They can let the color do the work. It creates an invisible barrier between you and the world, one that keeps you from connecting, one that makes others question your authority, one that makes you question yourself. It doesn't just weaken your presence externally, it begins to eat at you internally. You wonder why you feel exhausted after social interactions, why your ideas don't land the way you intended, why people treat you like you're less than you are. And you chalk it up to bad luck, to a rough day, to people not understanding you, when the truth is you are cloaked in something that dulls your light before you even step out the door. Confidence is not just an attitude, it's an energy field people can sense before you speak. And when that energy field is disrupted, you feel it. Your posture changes, your tone softens, your decisions hesitate. This is why it's so dangerous, because it doesn't just affect how others see you, it rewires how you see yourself in the moment. It's almost like putting on a costume that doesn't fit you. No matter how hard you try to adjust, you still feel uncomfortable, off balance, not quite yourself. That discomfort is your spirit trying to warn you, this doesn't belong to you. You see, the people who move with true strength understand that every detail matters. The way they walk, the way they speak, the way they dress, it all sends a message before they ever open their mouth. Witches understand this too, but they use it against you. They use color to mute your voice, to shrink your presence, to make you easier to ignore. And if you don't realize what's happening, you'll keep wondering why you can't seem to break through, why you feel so overlooked, why your spirit feels so heavy. You were not meant to live muted, you were not meant to live small, you were not meant to blend into the background of other people's noise. But when you wear the color that carries the energy of spiritual camouflage, you unintentionally put yourself in a position where your greatness gets covered. And here's the part most people don't want to face. No matter how strong your mind is, no matter how determined you are, if your spirit is cloaked by something that drains it, you will always be fighting an uphill battle. That's why awareness matters, because once you know what drains you, once you recognize how subtle the enemy works, you take your power back. You start choosing intentionally. You stop putting things on your body just because they look fashionable or because everyone else is wearing them. You begin to ask yourself, does this amplify me or does this diminish me? Does this color radiate my strength or does it hide me? That's how you protect your presence. That's how you stop letting your energy leak away without realizing it. And here's what you'll notice when you make that shift. People will respond differently to you. Conversations will flow more naturally. Your words will land with weight. You'll walk into a room, and instead of feeling smaller, you'll feel anchored, powerful, undeniable. That's not magic. That's alignment. That's what happens when you refuse to carry what was meant to silence you, and instead step into what was meant to magnify you. Because at the end of the day, your presence is your power, and the world does not need you weakened, muted, or hidden. It needs you visible, strong, and unshakable, which means you cannot afford to wear what witches wear to drain and disguise. You cannot afford to let something as simple as a color be the reason your light doesn't reach its full capacity. You are responsible for protecting that presence, and when you do, no cloak of darkness can ever cover the strength you were born to carry. What makes this even more dangerous is that this color doesn't just weaken you, it marks you. It places an invisible tag on you that tells the spiritual world you are open for interference. Witches know this. They don't always need to cast long rituals or burn candles in the dark. Sometimes all they need to do is get you to wear the very thing that does the work for them. Once you step into it, you've already carried out half of their plan. You become identifiable. You stand out to the forces looking for someone to drain, someone to manipulate, someone to tie down with invisible cords. And the worst part, you didn't give permission consciously, but energetically, you already did. This is how spiritual marking works. It's silent, it's subtle, and it's unnoticed by most people. Think of it like a tracker. You don't feel it, you don't see it, but once it's on you, your location, your energy, your vulnerability is exposed. That's what this color does. You might be walking confidently, thinking you are in full control, but in the unseen realm, you're flashing like a signal light saying, "I'm here, I'm unguarded, I can be touched." And that's all it takes for the wrong forces to attach themselves to you. You ever wonder why sometimes bad things seem to follow you even when you're doing everything right? Why certain people seem drawn to you, but only to take advantage, to drain, to pull something out of you? That's not random. That's not coincidence. That's the effect of being marked, because once that tag is on you, it doesn't just attract darkness, it repels the good. People who could have been allies, supporters, or protectors don't see you clearly. They feel the weight of that frequency and keep their distance. Meanwhile, those who thrive on your energy, those who want to use you, they see you clearly and move right in. And here's the truth: witches don't need you to believe in their work for it to be effective. They just need you unaware. They need you distracted, careless, treating everything as if it's harmless, because the moment you dismiss it, you're vulnerable. And that's how you end up marked without even knowing it. You keep moving through life wondering why you're exhausted, why relationships feel toxic, why doors that should be opening stay locked. It's not always because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're carrying something that doesn't belong to you. But when you understand this, when you recognize that you can be marked without consent, you also realize you can refuse it. You don't have to wear what invites attack. You don't have to carry what tags you as vulnerable. You don't have to be the easy target they want you to be. You can protect yourself by choosing differently, by aligning with colors and energies that shield instead of expose, that strengthen instead of weaken. Because once you decide not to wear what they use as their marker, you strip them of one of their most silent weapons. And when that happens, the signal goes dark and you become untouchable. When you wear this color, it doesn't just sit on your body, it seeps into your spirit. It begins to work on your confidence in ways you don't recognize at first. You'll notice yourself hesitating where you used to move boldly. You'll question your choices more often, second, guess your words, and feel smaller in situations where you should stand tall. That's the power of energy. It doesn't need permission to influence you once you've aligned with it. And this particular color carries an energy of heaviness, of doubt, of insecurity. It was designed to do that. Witches chose it because it weakens the inner fire of a person, and when your inner fire dims, your outer presence crumbles. You've probably experienced it before without realizing the cause. You put it on thinking it looks good, but halfway through the day you're tired, distracted, less focused. You walk into a room and feel invisible, even though you're right there. People look past you, treat you as if your words don't hold weight, and something in you starts to shrink. That shrinking is the silent damage, because once your confidence is shaken, it doesn't matter how capable you are. Your energy is no longer backing your abilities. Confidence is not just a feeling, it's a frequency, and this color is designed to disrupt that. It's not about fashion, it's about programming. Darkness knows that if you can be programmed to doubt yourself, to play small, to lose your spark, you'll never step fully into your power. You'll hold back, you'll settle, you'll stay quiet when you should speak, and you'll convince yourself it's just your personality or just bad timing. But no, it's influence so subtle that you wear it on your body without questioning it, not realizing it's feeding you insecurity drip by drip. This is why some people live their whole lives feeling overlooked, underestimated, undervalued. They carry the weight of something that was never theirs to carry. They've worn a frequency that slowly taught them to shrink, and the longer you stay in it, the more normal it feels to be invisible, to be unheard, to be doubted. That's how dangerous it is. It doesn't just attack your confidence, it rewrites your identity. But here's the part they don't want you to know. Your confidence can't be stolen, only suppressed. The moment you remove what doesn't belong to you, the moment you refuse to wear what was meant to weaken you, that confidence comes back. Your energy shifts, your presence expands, and suddenly people respond differently to you. They notice you, they respect you, they hear you, not because you changed who you are, but because you stopped carrying what was silencing you. That's why you can't underestimate the power of color. It's not just about style, it's about energy. And when you choose to remove the very thing that was designed to chip away at your self-belief, you take away their leverage. You protect your confidence, you protect your fire, and you protect your ability to walk into any space unshakable. Because, at the end of the day, the greatest weapon the enemy can use against you is not force, it's your own doubt. And if they can trick you into wearing the color that feeds it, they've already won half the battle. But when you know better, you take that power back. This color doesn't just drain you, it hides you. It covers your true identity like a mask, blending you into a darkness you were never meant to belong to. You see, your presence was designed to be seen, to be felt, to radiate a light that no one can ignore. But when you wear the very shade witches use as their camouflage, you unintentionally step into their disguise. You stop being the person people notice for their strength, and instead become the person who gets overlooked, forgotten, dismissed. And that's the most dangerous kind of attack. The kind that convinces you to stay hidden, that convinces you your voice doesn't matter, your presence doesn't count. When you're cloaked in that frequency, it tricks you into believing invisibility is safety. You begin to think that fading into the background keeps you protected from judgment, from criticism, from failure. But the truth is, it's not safety, it's suppression, because the more you hide, the more you deny the very power inside you that was meant to change things, to influence, to inspire. That's exactly what witches want. A strong spirit trapped in a costume of weakness, a powerful soul made invisible by its own choices. And here's what happens when your identity is hidden. You don't just lose sight of yourself, others lose sight of you too. The opportunities that should come your way pass you by. The people who could help you rise don't see your value. The respect you deserve doesn't land where it should, not because you aren't worthy of it, but because you're cloaked in something that misrepresents you. The color becomes the first introduction before you even open your mouth, and it whispers a lie. This one is insignificant. This one doesn't matter. This one can be ignored. But deep down, you know that isn't who you are. You've felt the fire inside you. You've had moments where your power breaks through, where people can't help but notice you. And that's proof you were never meant to be hidden. You were meant to stand out, to shine, to carry a presence that cannot be denied. Which means every time you choose to wear what masks your identity, you're betraying the very light you carry. You're agreeing to be smaller than you are, when everything inside you is screaming to rise. That's why it's so important to pay attention. Because the more you hide behind that color, the easier it becomes to forget your true identity. You start to accept the silence, to accept the invisibility, to accept being passed over. And the longer you accept it, the harder it feels to break out. That's not by accident, that's strategy. Witches know that once your light is dimmed, once you stop fighting to be seen, you'll live in their disguise for the rest of your life. But you were not created to wear what they wear. You were not created to live masked, muted, or hidden. You were created to be authentic, visible, undeniable, and the moment you remove what doesn't belong to you, the moment you stop blending into the darkness, your true identity rises again. People see you differently, but more importantly, you see yourself differently. And once you see yourself clearly, no darkness can ever convince you to disappear again. Avoiding this color is not about superstition, it's about self-protection. It's about refusing to carry on your body the very thing that was designed to weaken you. Every day, you make choices that either guard your energy or give it away, and what you wear is one of those choices. You wouldn't walk into a dangerous place unarmed. You wouldn't hand your house keys to a stranger. So, why would you allow yourself to wear something that hands your spirit over to forces that want to break you down? That's what this comes down to. Awareness. The moment you choose not to put it on, you're choosing to shut a door. You're choosing to close off one of the easiest access points the enemy has into your life. Because protection is not always about fighting harder, it's about removing what makes you vulnerable in the first place. If you know a door is weak, you don't keep using it and hope no one kicks it in. You reinforce it, or you stop opening it altogether. That's exactly how you need to view this color. It is a weak spot. It's a crack in your armor. And no matter how strong your mind is, no matter how disciplined your habits are, if you leave that weak spot exposed, sooner or later something will try to push through it. But when you avoid it, when you make the decision that your spirit is worth more than trends, worth more than blending in, worth more than other people's approval, you cut off one of the strategies, you stand taller, you feel lighter, you begin to notice that the heaviness you thought was just life starts to fade. The confusion, the insecurity, the constant battles to stay motivated, they start to lose their grip because you're no longer carrying something that was feeding them. That's the beauty of protection. It's proactive, not reactive. You don't wait until you're under attack to put your armor on. You wear it every day, and that's what avoiding this color does. It's not fear, it's wisdom. It's not weakness, it's strength. Because strength isn't about showing off how much you can endure. It's about knowing what you should never allow into your space in the first place. And once you take that stand, once you decide you're done being an easy target, no witch, no curse, no darkness has the power to mark you anymore. You've already marked yourself with something far stronger: awareness, intention, and light. Your clothing is more than fabric, it's armor. Every piece you put on is telling a story, sending out a frequency, declaring to the world and to the unseen realm who you are and what you stand for. That's why warriors wore specific colors in battle, why kings and queens chose certain garments, why spiritual leaders wrapped themselves in robes that symbolized purity and authority. They understood that what covers your body is not just about appearance, it's about power, and if you treat clothing like it's just fashion, you're missing the deeper truth. You're either wearing protection or you're wearing exposure. When you step out dressed in a way that strengthens your spirit, you carry yourself differently. Your posture straightens, your words hit harder, your presence fills the room before you speak. That's not just confidence, it's spiritual alignment. But when you put on something that carries the frequency of darkness, you are unknowingly stripping off your armor. You're walking into the world uncovered, signaling vulnerability, carrying an energy that was never meant for you. That's why you can feel drained, ignored, or unsettled without explanation. It's not your imagination, it's what happens when your armor is compromised. You need to understand that life is not neutral. Every environment you walk into, every person you encounter, every unseen force around you is either pulling on your energy or strengthening it. And your clothing is the first line of defense. It's the shield people see before they even meet you. It's the signal the unseen realm picks up before you even open your mouth. If you put on what witches use to disguise themselves, you're declaring a weakness you didn't intend to declare. But when you choose intentionally, when you clothe yourself in strength, in light, in colors that amplify rather than diminish, you're declaring, I cannot be touched. That's why you cannot afford to think lightly of what covers you. Because every choice is communication, every choice is a signal, and every choice either strengthens your shield or cracks it. You wouldn't walk into a battlefield without armor, so why would you walk into life unprotected? Your clothing is not just style, it's strategy. And once you start seeing it that way, once you start treating every choice as a part of your defense, you stop being an easy target. You stop giving away power unknowingly, you start living armored, and when you live armored, nothing can pierce you the way it once did. Refusing to wear the color that witches use is more than a fashion choice. It's a declaration that you will not be marked. It's you standing up and saying, I know who I am, and I will not carry anything that was designed to weaken me. Because the truth is, the enemy doesn't always come at you with force. Sometimes it comes with subtle agreements, small compromises, little choices that seem harmless but carry consequences. And when you refuse to wear what they use as their marker, you're breaking that agreement, you're closing that door. You're choosing not to let their silent weapon touch you. When you make that decision, you reclaim authority over your own presence. You no longer walk through life unknowingly signaling openness to attack. Instead, you walk with clarity, with strength, with a frequency that says, I am untouchable. That's the power of intentionality, because protection doesn't happen by accident, it happens by choice. And when you choose to reject what was meant to tag you, you choose freedom. You choose to walk uncovered by their disguise and covered by your own light. This is how you change the dynamic. Instead of being the one who is tracked, drained, or overlooked, you become the one who can't be moved. You become the person people notice without understanding why, the one who carries an undeniable presence, the one darkness cannot get close to because your energy is already sending out. Message, you cannot have me. That is the shift. That is the difference between living marked and living free. You have to realize every single time you refuse to wear what they use, you're not just protecting yourself, you're training your spirit. You're reminding yourself of your worth. You're telling your subconscious that you are not weak, you are not small, you are not vulnerable. You are strong, you are guarded, and you are aware. That awareness builds resilience, and resilience builds power. And once you step into that kind of power, there is no disguise, no mark, no curse that can override it. So, you refuse to be marked because you understand your value. You refuse to be tagged because you understand your light. And you refuse to wear what they wear because you know who you are. That refusal is your shield, your strength, and your victory. It is the quiet but powerful way you declare to the world and to the unseen realm, I cannot be owned, I cannot be drained, I cannot be marked. I belong only to light and nothing else. So understand this, nothing about your life is random, not even the colors you choose to wear. They are signals, they are declarations, and they are invitations to either power or weakness. Witches know this, and that is why they use it as a weapon, a silent trap that marks people without their awareness. But you are not called to be unaware. You are not called to be silent, hidden, or weakened. You are called to stand strong, to protect your energy, to guard your presence, and to walk in light that no darkness can imitate. When you refuse to wear what was meant to cloak you, you rise above their tactics, you strip them of one of their easiest tools. You declare through action, not words, that you will not be marked. You will not be drained. You will not be controlled. You were born to shine, and no color, no cloak, no curse will ever be stronger than the light you choose to walk in every single day.